Let's talk about physical media, digital media, and what it means to actually own something. Right? And that's a broader general question, but specifically, we're talking about this today because the gaming world is at this boiling point right now, grappling with that topic of what it means to actually own a game. And this issue has gotten even more attention lately after a video by the YouTube channel A Cursed Farm started blowing up. Because in it, he details how games have shifted to a digital-only buying model and how the publishers also run all the services for the game.
So what happens when the publisher takes over the responsibility of running the game? Well, it's usually pretty good while they support the game. Then when they stop, it's a complete nightmare and has been responsible for destroying more video games than any other practice. That's a big shift, because the industry is trying to get users to go from a model where they get to keep their game, regardless of when support ends, to one where the game dies forever. I'm not a fan.
Right, and this isn't like some sort of abstract issue, with his video in particular voicing frustrations with Ubisoft's decision this month to completely shut down The Crew, which has sold 12 million copies. Because, if you spent the $60-ish to buy the game, too bad, so sad. Because even if you had a physical copy, you still need Ubisoft servers to play. And this is really different from how many online games used to be, as they allowed individuals to host their own servers, so that even if a developer stopped servicing a game, you could still play it with your buddies or on your own. And then it feels even worse when you're talking about a single-player game, because you have a lot of people going, why would I even need to connect to a server? With people looking back going, I used to just buy a disc for my PS2 or a cartridge for my N64. Hell, I can still jam those in today and play. Also, to be clear, this is not an exclusively Ubisoft problem. Tons of companies do this. Square Enix shut down its Final Fantasy VII inspired Battle Royale title last year, so did EA with their mobile version of Apex Legends. And in fact, this is so widespread, studies show that only 13% of games are still available commercially from their publishers. And most of those are because studios have shut down, or there's just not a commercial market for them anymore. But you can at least get most of the older stuff secondhand and you still play it. Which brings us to the biggest thing: when the game is 100% digital, you're kind of screwed. And this isn't an issue just in the gaming space. The shift to not physically owning goods has happened across the entertainment industry. Like, I don't remember the last time I bought a physical piece of media. It was however many years ago I falsely convinced myself I'm definitely gonna watch a Blu-ray this time. I mean, sometimes even getting a Blu-ray or a physical CD, that's a hassle. And it's also led to weird trends like vinyl suddenly becoming even bigger and popular. Like, there's a cool factor to actually owning a physical thing. Gaming really wants that shift to happen in their space, with Ubisoft's director of subscriptions recently saying, one of the things we saw is that gamers are used to, a little bit like DVDs, having and owning their games. That's a consumer shift that needs to happen. They got comfortable not owning their CD collection or DVD collection. That's a transformation that's been a bit slower to happen in games. As gamers grow comfortable in that aspect, you don't lose your progress. If you resume your game at another time, your progress file is still there. That's not been deleted. You don't lose what you've built in the game or the engagement with the game. So it's about feeling comfortable with not owning your game. And so it's because of all this that Accursed Farms has decided to try and make a change with the Stop Killing Games initiative, with a group pushing for legislative changes that prevent studios from selling games and then shutting them down with no way for you to access what you bought. And so to combat that, they want these changes to be made for when a company decides that it's going to end support for a game.
The first is any game sold or licensed, for those of you who want to be pedantic, will be required to be left in a functional state when support ends. This does not mean a 100% perfect state, but it means a hell of a lot better than completely inoperable. It would also require no connection to the publisher or affiliated parties in order for it to continue functioning. So it would need to be patched to either be offline or have private hosting only. It's the only way. Anything less and the game dies. So this would also apply to games with microtransactions. Except we didn't say microtransactions since these were in plain English. So this would cover free-to-play games, because if you've been sold something like a virtual horse, but then the publisher destroys the game, well, now you can't access your horse. And finally, these rules cannot be superseded by end-user license agreements.
With this, they recognize that this is an uphill battle, especially here in the States. But, a ton of people have complained about this problem across the entertainment landscape. Because as convenient as it is to have everything online, you're kind of just inherently trusting a company to not screw you over in the long run. And honestly, it feels like more and more these days, that is specifically what they do. Right? Once your money transfers from your pocket to their pocket, they're like, thank you. Why do you look so familiar? Have we met before? But hey, that's a story. Of course, I'd love to know your thoughts. Also, if you want to support Stop Killing Games, I'll link to them down below. While the first petition focuses on The Crew, it offers ways that you can pressure your local officials and lawmakers to make changes that you want to see.